my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to work with printed pattern HTV. I am going to be using the Old Glory pattern from 651 vinyl as well as the transfer mask. And now both of these things are in the April 2020 mystery box from 651 vinyl. If you did not get that box, you can purchase all of the products that I use from the 651 website. I will link that in the description box for you. And what we're going to be making is the super cute patriotic shirt. It's very simple. It's just a star with the pattern HTV, and I think the HTV adds a little something to it. It's not just a plain star. It's a star with this super cute pattern. I used this on my shirt last year for 4th of July. The nice part about the printed HTV is it is soft. So on your shirt, it's not rough, it's not crinkly, it's not super heavy feeling on your shirt, but it's also matte, so it's not shiny. And the best part is this isn't the only pattern vinyl that they have, or pattern HTV that they have at 651 vinyl. There are a ton of different patterns. So I am going to flip you into Design Space and I will show you how I work with this just to create a simple star. And then I'm going to send it to my machine and show you how you're going to put it on your mat, how you're going to cut it, and then I will show you how to transfer it onto your shirt and get it pressed, and you're ready to go for anything this summer or anything all year long. It's entirely up to you. So I will flip you into Design Space and we will get started. So here in Design Space, I am in a new window here. I have a new empty project ready to go. And since I want to keep the pattern very visible, I am just going to do a simple star shape. Now, all of these basic shapes are always free in Design Space. So I'm just going to pull this star, and I've already kind of measured to see how big I want this on the shirt, and I am going to do it at about 7.5 inches wide, puts it about 7.1 inches tall. So this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it super simple, but it'll be effective. It's going on a red shirt, and the pattern of this HTV is super cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to my mat, and I'm going to show you what you have to do from here. Because with standard HTV, when you would go to make it, you would hit this little tab here to mirror your image, especially if you were doing anything with words. However, since this is printed pattern HTV, keyword there is printed. Because of that, you don't need to mirror anything ever. So you're going to leave it just as is, and you're going to cut it almost like you're cutting regular vinyl, regular adhesive vinyl that you're going to pick up with transfer tape, because this is kind of the same concept, but it's going on a shirt and it's HTV, not sticky. So with the printed pattern HTV, I am going to cut this on the everyday iron-on setting. I'm going to click continue. It's going to connect to my maker here. If you have the Cricut Joy, you are limited to that 4.5 inches wide of a cut space, but you can use this on there as well. You would just want to cut it down so it'll fit onto that mat. So here are my favorites. I can go to popular here, and everyday iron-on is right here. I'm just going to select that, and you're going to get this code here that says make sure mirror is turned on and iron-on materials face shiny side down. Ignore that. Ignore that because this is printed pattern HTV. We don't do that. So I am going to show you how this goes on the mat, and I'm going to load it into my machine, let it cut, and then I will show you how to weed this out and then press it onto the shirt. So I have here my Cricut mat, my maker's ready to go, and I have my printed pattern HTV here. Now with this, you can decide which way you want it to go. And I think for this one, I think we might go this way with it. I think we're gonna keep these lines horizontal. Now this is my purple mat, which as you all know as Cricut users, is a strong grip mat, but this is one of my more loved strong grip mats, so it's not as strong of a grip anymore. So I use the most of my mats as I can, try and get the most life out of them. So for this one, it's holding my vinyl and my iron-on right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put this on my mat. I'm actually gonna turn it so I can line it up this way. I'm gonna put this on my mat, and then I'm gonna trim it down, because I know that I made it 7.5 inches tall, or 7.5 inches wide, and since I want it this way, I'm gonna need to trim it down just a little bit. So I'm going to use my Cricut True Control knife and the ruler, and I'm gonna cut it just at about 8 inches just to give it a little extra. I really want to make sure that this is nice and straight on my mat. You want those lines to be straight for your image and on your shirt. That looks better. So I'm gonna stick it down there. Grab this, come to the 8-inch mark, and I am just going to trim it. That way I have a nice clean sheet to use when I use the rest of it. And if you're a scrap hoarder like me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But because you get this 12 by 15 sheet of the iron-on, unless you're doing a really large design, you can definitely get more than one use out of it. So I'm going to trim it. There we go. So there, I'm just gonna keep my extra, gonna put it over here to the side and put this away. Now that it is stuck down to my mat, I am going to go ahead and load it. Now you can see my pattern's facing up, just like regular adhesive vinyl. So I'm gonna go ahead and load this in my mat. I have to reselect my iron-on here. So I'm gonna load this in my mat. My mat is flashing. If you could see that, that is my load button. So I'm going to hit load, let that go in my mat. I'm gonna let that cut, and then I will pull it out as soon as it's done and weed it and show you how to press it onto your shirt using the Cricut Easy Press. So now that this is cut, I am going to go ahead and weed this out, get it ready. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat up my Easy Press. So for the printed pattern HTV, you are going to want to heat your Easy Press or your heat press up to 300 degrees and set it for 15 seconds. So I am gonna go ahead and do that. Move this over here, turn it on. We are going to change the temperature down to 300 degrees and change the time to 15 seconds. So with this product, you're gonna do medium pressure. That varies if you're using an Easy Press or if you're using a regular heat press. I'm just gonna double check. Yep, that's good to go. So now this is going to preheat. So I'm gonna move this over, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim the extra off of this bottom, and I'm going to weed this out. So I can see here where the bottom of my star is at. So I'm going to trim just under that. Make sure we don't cut any of it off. Cut right here between this set of stars. Just like that. Move that to the side. Now, weeding this is just as simple as weeding any other HTV product. I'm going to use my pin pen weeding tool again from 651, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the corner here and I'm going to pull it back. So you'll see that with the printed pattern HTV, the carrier sheet is on the back, just like a regular vinyl would be. So you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to get it onto my shirt? And what you're going to need for that is the transfer mask. Now, since you got the awesome mystery box from 651, it comes with both the printed pattern HTV and the transfer mask. This can be used more than once. You'll kind of know when it's been used enough, when it doesn't want to work anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of get it right around where my design is. And I am going to use my True Control ruler to kind of keep this out of the way, just like that. I'm gonna grab my scissors and just trim here. And we will trim it on this side. So with this, it's gonna kind of work like your transfer tape for your vinyl, but it is for heat transfer products that don't have a carrier sheet like the printed pattern HTV. All of the printed pattern HTV from 651 will need this transfer mask to get it onto your item, whether that is your can cooler or a bag or a shirt or whatever you might be putting it on. So you'll want to make sure, if you do go to purchase more of this in the other fun patterns that they have, you'll want to make sure that you do check that you want the transfer mask if you don't have any at home. Now, like I said, you can get more than one use out of this. For my project, this is all I'm using from this whole sheet. So you have quite a bit of space left if you're going to do another design. But it's definitely enough for the whole sheet of printed pattern that you get with the mystery box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to peel this off here. Just like that. It's pretty thick. Kind of like the transfer or the carrier sheet that you would see on another heat transfer product. So say you're using the Starcraft Soft Flex, this is going to be on the front of it. This is that shiny side that you would put down. So we're going to go ahead and burnish this down. We're going to use our squeegee from 651 vinyl. And you're going to want to make sure you really, really burnish this onto this transfer mask. You really want to make sure that it's stuck nice and tight there on the sticky transfer mask so it pulls it up. That way you're not ripping your HTV, because with the printed pattern HTV, it will feel a little thinner than your regular HTV. But that's okay because it doesn't have the mask on it yet. Once it's on this transfer mask, it's going to feel just like normal. So we're going to go ahead and make sure this is really on there well. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the back side also, just like this. Tedious work to make sure your design comes out flawless. I'm going to do that. Then I am going to set this aside and grab my Easy Press mat. Now with the Easy Press, if you don't have the Easy Press mat, you can use a towel that is folded, protecting your surface. However, I do recommend the mat. Once I got it, after having my Easy Press for a while, it was definitely a game changer. It radiates the heat back up into your garment, so that way you're getting heat from both sides. You're not losing your heat. You'll notice sometimes with the Easy Press, if the temperature drops, it's because it's losing that heat. So the Easy Press mat is great for preventing that. So I have my transfer cut out. It's ready to go. I have my transfer mask on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel from the back, just like this. And I'm going to pull the backing away from the transfer mask as opposed to pulling the transfer mask away from the backing. I like to do it this way because it will prevent getting little snags, you know, like on those sharp corners of this star. So now you have your transfer mask and your pattern HTV ready to go. So since I did it horizontal, I'm going to go ahead and put this where I like it. I am one of those eyeball it type of people. I kind of just check it out, look to see if it's centered where I like it. I think it looks great right there. So what we're going to do is now we're going to take the Easy Press and we are going to set it on there. As I mentioned, it's set for 300 degrees for 15 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and press this on. I'm going to do it this way because it'll fit. I'm going to go ahead and hit the go button. And I'm just going to apply medium pressure. So for medium pressure for me, that's me holding my Easy Press and just pushing down with it with a little bit of weight. If it's something that does require heavy, heavy pressure, The Easy Press might not be the greatest for it, but you can definitely get it done. Now, you see that big mark right there? It'll go away. It's just a heat mark from the moisture in the shirt. No problem. This is a Wonder Nation brand shirt from Walmart. It happens to all of them. It is okay. So now, this is a warm peel product. You don't want to let it cool off. You want to make sure it's still warm to the touch. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull that transfer mask and we're going to roll it just like you would a adhesive vinyl transfer tape. That way you're going to make sure you're not ripping it off in case something did not stick properly. With this star, because of all the points in the star, it's something that I really want to make sure that I pay attention to, because if that little point wants to snag and grab onto anything, it's going to do that and it may pull that design away. So just like that, roll my heat transfer mask away, and I have my design. So I'm going to keep this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that paper that came with it, and I'm going to stick it right back to there, and I will use this again for another sheet of printed iron-on. Like I said, you'll kind of know when it's done, when it doesn't want to be used anymore. So just like that, we have added our printed HTV to our shirt. Nice, patriotic, just in time for summer. Just like that. And it is on there. You won't see texture from the shirt through this like you would a normal HTV. I know everybody says, look for the texture of the shirt, look for the texture of the shirt. Keep in mind that you are not going to see that with this printed HTV. So, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials with Cricut and awesome products from 651 Vinyl. Thanks for watching, guys.